Hello you guys and welcome to my first reading vlog of 2024. I am very excited to be filming this video because this is something completely different than like other videos I've filmed in the past. I'm very excited to be reading books that I've been avoiding. If this ends up actually going really well, I cannot wait to actually do more videos of books I've been avoiding. These books I truly have been avoiding because two of them are very much outside of my comfort zone, and then the other one I've just not heard great reviews of and have kind of just been putting it off. So I've chosen 3 books. Sorry if you can hear that downstairs, that's Bailey and Michael playing video games. Bailey's my dog playing with her toy and then Michael playing video games. But I have chosen 3 books for this video and I'm very excited because 2 of them I've heard amazing things about. The genre wise, they are just outside my comfort zone and just not something I guess I would typically read. And then like I said, the third one is I just haven't heard many good reviews about. The 3 books I chose for this video: Tomorrow, and Tomorrow, The Song of Achilles, and then Things We Left Behind. As you can see, Things We Left Behind, I have not heard some great things about. I absolutely loved Things We Never Got Over, the first book in the Knock 'Em Out series. Things We Hide from the Light though, I was not too impressed with. I think I actually ended up giving it like 2.5 stars. This one I've heard is just like so far out from what we thought Lucian's and Sloane's story was gonna be. So I'm not very excited to actually read this book. These 2 are actually just so far out of my comfort zone that like I just haven't picked them up. This one, historical fiction. I've heard great things about it though. I just, like I said, very far out of my comfort zone. This one again, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow. I actually bought this one I think in the beginning of 2023. I just never read it because I was so scared of not liking it, considering it's a literary fiction novel, but I've heard that the story is actually really good. So I'm actually very excited to dip my toes into this one. What I have decided is that I think I'm gonna start with Things We Left Behind because I don't want to avoid this one to a point where it's the last one I read and then I'm left completely disappointed. So I'm gonna start out with it. And if I end up liking it, then we're great. And we started off on a high note. And if I don't end up liking it, then that's okay because I have some other great, really highly rated books on my way. I guess the only thing left to do is just start reading. Hello you guys. It is actually a few days later. I'm actually 50% the way through this book already. I'm actually really enjoying it. I have been pleasantly surprised. I feel like maybe because I set my expectations so low for this book that like I'm actually genuinely surprised about how much I'm liking it. I saw a lot of like mixed reviews on like the plot line of this book and like who the story is like following and stuff. Like I knew this was like Lucian and Sloane's book, but like from other reviews and like videos that I've seen, a lot of people were saying that like they felt like this was like another like Nash and Lena 2.0 or like another like Knox and Naomi, like just like being too much center focus of the book, which I actually feel like is not the case at all. At least like from where I'm at right now in the book, I don't feel like that at all. Like I feel like that they're really not in it. I do agree with the fact that like it's a lot of Lucian and Sloane on their own and not like together, like you know what I mean? Like obviously with everything that we already know about this couple and like everything that's already been like built up for them within the past 2 books, I feel like this is almost like kind of expected to like be a buildup of like them not really being together until like a certain point, because like they're like the genuine like enemies to lovers, you know what I mean? Like they actually don't like each other. They don't like being around each other. Yeah, they're attracted to each other, but like they don't necessarily like each other as people. Granted, they both have each other misunderstood, and that's very blatant and clear throughout every single book that has been in this series. But yeah, I'm actually enjoying it so far. I'm really enjoying it actually. The chapters I enjoy most actually are the ones of them like when they were in high school and like getting some of the insight on that and like just a little bit like background perspective as to like what this whole big thing that happened between them that they don't ever want to talk about. Like this was something that's been known throughout the past 2 books. So if you've read them, then like obviously you know, and if you read this book, then you know. And like basically like from what I've gotten out of this so far, I'm doing like literally a full review right now. I'm not even done with the book. The grudge or the thing that they're holding on to, well, I don't know whatever Sloane is holding on to, if that's ever to be revealed. It could just be because like Lucian's kind of a dick. The thing that like Lucian is holding on to as to why he can never forgive Sloane is actually just like kind of ridiculous. It's just like, bro, like that happened when you were kids and like you really can't get over that. She she loved you. Like, and you can't get over the fact that like that's what like something that she did. And just for like more clarification, I kind of had a feeling of what was gonna happen in this book, like what the backstory of their relationship was kind of gonna be like, and like what their childhood, not their childhood, but like their like teenage high school years was gonna be like, and like what kind of the big secret was. I kind of figured that out within like the second book, I think. Like, it's not like hard to figure out. Like, if you read into the characters, it's not a difficult thing to figure out. Anyways, so unless there's like gonna be more insight to all the information, because I've gotten to the point where like the big thing had happened where he like can never forgive her, and I'm like, bro, this is so ridiculous. Like, why you're like holding on to this grudge for so long for this person that you genuinely want to be with and that you've always wanted to be with. You just like couldn't trust them after that. But it was like, I understand like in the moment your trust being broken by this thing, but at the same time I'm like, that isn't a good enough reason to not be with them. The actual reasoning behind it is just not good enough. It's just like ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, as an adult, you should look back and realize like, you know what? She did it because she loved me, and I can forgive that. And like, I can forgive her for breaking this trust that we had, but like, she did it because she loved me. That's the takeaway. Like, the one thing that like cringes me out with these books, and like I said, I am enjoying this one, and honestly I haven't had as many cringe moments as I did in the second book, which was Nash and Lena's book. The language and the way they talk isn't actually as cringe in this one. I mean, there's some parts where I'm like, okay, bro, like, you guys stop talking like that. The other thing that I can't get over is how old they are. I'm like, stop, like, you shouldn't be acting like this. You're fucking 40 years old. Stopped acting like an actual child. This story, I feel like, would be more digestible if they were like mid, early, even late 20s pushing it. You know what I mean? Like, because I can understand, like, I act immature sometimes and I'm in my late 20s. So like, I could see that perspective of just being like young and stupid, but like, y'all are literally grown-ass adults. Just stop. Also, the weird friendship relationship all the characters have had, this is just stuff I'm like now spewing based off of all the two other books. The relationship and like the way that they all act around each other, I'm kind of like, that's weird. I wouldn't do that around my friends with my husband. You know, being as someone who is actually married and hangs out with other married couples, that's not like something we do when we're around each other. And granted, like, it's nothing really extreme. It's just like the way that they like are together and the way that they talk all together, and like things like I can understand being really close friends, and like I am like even with our married coupled friends, we are very close and we do talk about very like close, intimate things as friends, but not like intimate in that way. If that makes sense. I don't know. If you get it, you get it. Like, if you're married and you understand, then you get it. Please let me know if you're also married and like the stuff that they do in this book seems also like not something you would do. Let me know, because I would actually really like to know. But yeah, I have been talking for 10 minutes, and the only reason I came on here was to tell you I was enjoying this book so far and that I'm 50% of the way through. But yeah, like I said, I'm enjoying it. I really, really like the story so far. I guess we'll kind of see how it progresses like throughout, because I don't know, maybe other things about it will make me not like it as much, but I'm actually enjoying it. Like, the last book I felt so bored. Like, I was so bored. Nothing was happening. They were just being stupid, and they were just they were just acting like children at that age. Like, no. This one, it makes sense. They always act childish. Like, in the past two books, they've always acted kind of childish, so it's not like out of the ordinary of the way that they're acting, you know, but they're not acting like too childish, which I kind of appreciate. But I also like the story so far. I feel like it's a really good like wrap up to their story, or at least it's coming. Like I said, they were true enemies. Like, they didn't want to be around each other. They avoided each other if they could. And now this one is kind of like showing how they're coming together and eventually being together. So, because I know what's gonna happen at the end of the book, because literally what happens at the end of every single one of these is that they end up together. So it's not really a spoiler. And plus, it was given away at the end in the epilogue of the last book as to what was happening. Not really spoiled. But anyways, yeah, I guess we'll kind of see. But like I said, I really actually like their past timeline that is being shown. I wish there was more of the past and present, like more past timeline than there actually is. But I really liked it, because I think it just like brings us a whole different perspective into the relationship and like what they once were. And I actually find their young relationship that they had very sweet and very like innocent. I really am enjoying that part of the book. Anyways, that's enough rambling about this book right now. I'm going to get some coffee and then I'm going to continue reading this because I'm so freaking excited to see where it goes, actually. I really am excited to see where it goes. Hello, you guys. It is the next day, actually, and I only have 100 pages left of Things We Left Behind. I'm not gonna lie, like I said before, I'm actually really loving it. I feel like I was definitely expecting a little bit of a different story than what we're getting, but honestly, it feels so on brand for both of the characters as it is that like this story makes sense. The other one where I guess I was kind of expecting more of like a slow going, like falling in love, enemies to lovers, like, but no, like this one is just like pure, like very on brand for both of their personalities, and it just like makes sense this way. I don't know how else to describe it, but yeah, so I only have 100 pages left, which I'm really excited about, and I'll finish this today. I'm so excited. So I'm gonna read this and I will catch up with you when I finish it to let you know my final thoughts about the entire book. I'm really sorry for like the trash lighting right now. It's really dark out, really stormy. We actually have a tornado warning right now. You hear wind howling as well in the background. That's what that is. I finished Things We Left Behind. I actually finished it while I was in the bathtub. I actually really enjoyed it. The story, like I said, was definitely a lot different than what I was expecting it to be, but I actually still liked that about it. My version of the story was definitely not on brand for the characters, whereas this one absolutely was. Lucy Score knows her characters probably in and out at this point, so like for her obviously to write this story the way that she did made a lot of sense. And like I said, I actually ended up really liking it. I ended up giving this one a 4 stars. Honestly, like this is like we started off this video with a bang. Not necessarily a bang, I don't know what you'd call it. It's really good though. We started out this video really good. Now I'm worried that it's gonna go downhill, and I really hope that doesn't happen. I ended up giving this a 4 stars. Like I said, I really liked it. I literally don't even know what I could tell you that I actually genuinely liked about this book. I just know that I liked it. It gave me the good vibes that I needed. With that being said, it's time to pick the next one that we're gonna read. Also, I never even said, I'm sorry I look like a wet rat right now. I took a bath and then I took a shower, so I look like a wet rat. I'm sorry. Anyways, so the next 2 books that I have to choose from, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, or The Song of Achilles. I think I'm gonna go with The Song of Achilles. I've heard amazing things about Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, and I would really like to end the video off on a really good note, so like just in case, watch this happen and I absolutely hate this book. I don't think I will, but imagine. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna read The Song of Achilles next. I would definitely say that this book is going to be the most out of my comfort zone out of every single book in this video. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this one. And I think I'll start it tomorrow because I just don't know if I can mentally comprehend this book right now. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't think anything says avoiding a book more than saying I was gonna read it 2 days ago, starting and finishing another book, and then now getting 25% of the way through a different book before even starting the one I intended to start. So yeah, that's how this is going. The sole purpose of me wanting to start another book while reading this one simultaneously was so that if I found this one kind of boring, I could bounce back and forth. If like, hey, if I just DNF it, or if I like, you know, like just getting a little bored, or like I'm just not into it yet, I can go and read a different book. But I haven't even started this one, and I finished another one and started another one before this. 2 books I intend to read simultaneously, one being finished and one being 25% of the way through. So I don't know what this is. A clear case of avoidance. I can say that for sure. I don't know. I'm just really scared. I'm scared because it's so I'm not even scared. I don't know why I'm scared. Actually, anyways, I'm scared because like it's not like I'm actually scared. I'm just more of like nervous to read something so far out of my comfort zone because it's such a historical fiction book, but it's a really popular historical fiction. So I'm like, people like rave about it, but at the same time, I'm like, is this gonna be for me? You know? And so I'm worried. And like I wanna love it. I really do. I really want to be able to like love this book the way everybody else does, but I just don't know. I just don't know if that'll be possible because this is historical fiction. And I'm not a big fan of fiction, and then throw historical fiction on top of it. I don't even know. Have I even read historical romance even? I don't know. So I couldn't even tell you if I like a historical paced book. But anyways, like I said, I was gonna start this and then I didn't because I'm avoiding it. And this is the struggle. So you're seeing it firsthand. I hope this is pure entertainment for you. The thing really is though, that this other book that I'm now 25% of the way through, I really just want to read it. Like I don't want to start this because I'm going to be thinking about that one. And that just wouldn't be fair to me. And that also wouldn't be fair to this book, you know? So I think I'm going to have to finish that one before I even read this one. But then I swear I'll read this. I swear on my life. I know I'm being dramatic, it's fine. But I swear that I will read this. It will be the next book I read. I promise. I promise. Okay? I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read it. So this is all me just doing this so that I actually have to do it. So this isn't actually important for you to see. This dilemma, this whole problem solving thing I'm trying to work out in my own head, this isn't important for you. No, this is just for me to be accountable to actually read this book. Because if I'm saying it to you, I have to now. Like I have to. Even if I DNF it. But I don't even know if I would DNF it because I don't know if I'm even gonna, like if I might love it, you know? Like I might love the historical fiction. Who knows? I can't just say that I won't like it without reading it. And a lot of people rave about the book. So this is me saying I'm gonna read it, okay? This is gonna be the next book I'm gonna read, okay? I promise. It's gonna be the next one. And you have my word. I'm sorry I'm filming this at such a weird angle right now, but I just was sitting on the floor, so this just made it easier. I have some disappointing news. I did start this book. I got 27 pages in. I'm snoozing. I fully am aware that like, you know, sometimes it takes a little bit to get into a book sometimes. When a book has my attention, even if it's not the best book in the world, I literally could be in bed, tired as all get out, and my eyes, they're not closing. They're just not closing. Like if a book has my attention, doesn't matter how tired I am, my eyes aren't gonna shut. Was reading this in the bathtub last night, and I almost fell asleep 3 times sitting in the bathtub. With that being said, I am gonna try. Obviously, I'm gonna try and get through this book. Like, I don't want to just drop it after fucking 30 pages. You know what I mean? Like, that's not fair to it. It could have been last night that I was just so tired. But on another note, I started a different book last night because this one was putting me to sleep. And I'm already 100 pages in, and I was reading it so quick. I'm gonna try reading it now and see if maybe like it's not as boring. But like, I don't know. Like, genuinely, we will see. Like, to me, it's just, like, really choppy. The vibes I'm already getting from the book and, like, the writing style, I can kind of tell not for me. Very blunt, like, sentence. Like, it's not anything that, like, to me personally feels like it really flows. It's just, like, you know what I mean? And I don't know, I don't think I'm gonna get through it. I just have a really bad feeling that I'm not gonna be able to get through it and I'm gonna end up DNFing it. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna go try reading it right now. Hello, you guys. Please completely ignore my appearance. I am kind of sick right now, so I do not look that great. But it's been a few days, I think, since I've updated you. I finished a different book while still not even reading this one. This one, though, I read a little bit today and a little bit a few days ago or whatever, and I am on now page 108. It's gotten better, but I don't want to say that it's like good. Not that it's not good. Like I said, I just don't think it's my cup of tea. Like I said, it's gotten better. I mean, I don't even want to say that it's gotten more interesting either. Like, it's just a really slow-paced book, but also, like, jumps around quite a bit. One of the chapters ended, and, like, literally, she basically said that, like, 2 years went by. And I was like, what? It's just, like, really slow and, like, choppy pacing. I'm gonna try reading it a little bit because, like, when I'm reading it, like, I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. But also, I'm at the point where I'm like, do I even care if I finish this book? You know what I mean? So like, I've been filming this video honestly for way too long. I did not think it was gonna take me this long to film this video. The fact that I've already read 3 other books in between this one, I feel like might be a sign. Maybe I should move on. But I am gonna try today. I'm gonna try for a little bit longer to see if like I start enjoying it, or if it like picks up the pace for me, or if I like the way that the story's going. I'm on page 100. The book isn't that long realistically. Like, I'm at this point probably almost like 25-ish, 20% of the way through. 100 pages in. If you're not into it, you're not into it. You know what I mean? But we'll see, because it's really not that long. 369 pages. I should have been able to finish this, but it's just so slow. I'm gonna stop rambling. All right, you guys, it's the next day. I got to page 185 in The Song of Achilles, and I think I'm just gonna DNF it, honestly, because it's just not holding my attention. Like, literally yesterday, I literally went on my phone to check something and then got distracted for 3 hours. So usually that's a pretty good indicator that I'm not too into the book. It just like wasn't holding my attention at all. I wasn't too invested in the characters. The story was just kind of boring. The pacing of the book wasn't for me. I think the only thing that really was getting me through this was like the subplot, like the very small subplot of romance between the characters. At a certain point, it wasn't driving the story anymore. They were already together. And like, I understand like there was other things that were going to happen throughout the story and like what it was leading up to because of like something that they said and like that put their relationship at risk. But at the same time, I was kind of like, well, you're already together. And my driving force was to see, or at least a little bit of it was to see how they were going to overcome this thing to be together. And then it happened, and then it lost my interest. I think I'm just gonna DNF it for now. I don't know if I'll ever, I don't know. People just like raved about this one though, so I ended up just DNFing it for now. I just couldn't get into it. Sorry. I don't know what to tell you. But with that being said, I am gonna start tomorrow, later today, because I have to do some work before I start reading, but I'm gonna do that. But I'm actually very excited because I have heard very good things. The words are very, very big. Yeah, it's just under 400 pages, so it's not that, I mean, it's a long, it's a chunky book. Let's hope this one goes better than The Song of Achilles, because it's taken me too long to film this video. I feel like it should have been done 5 days ago. I should have finished this 5 days ago. Hello you guys, it has been a few days and I'm about, let me see, what page am I on in this book now? I'm on page 223. I'm more than halfway through the book now. It's good, but that's kind of it. That's all I have to say about it. Like, it's definitely good and there's definitely been parts that have been more interesting than others. To me personally, the pacing feels really, really slow, so it's like kind of hard to like speed read through it. I can honestly say though, like, Gabrielle Zevin is a very talented writer. The amount of like depth and thought that she puts into like every word that she's putting on the page is actually like kind of mind-blowing. I was kind of just reading it at one point and then like how descriptive she got for one part. It was very necessary especially for what she was trying to get across. But I was like, wow, it hit me in a different way. Like, I kind of had realized, I was like, wait a second. She is so purposeful with everything that she is writing. And like, it's not just like being thrown out there. Like, she's not just saying it just because. I mean, granted, I don't think any author says things just because, but like particular writing style that she has, I feel like is very hard to do. Like, you have to be like a genuinely amazing writer to be able to do what she's doing in this book, which is something I can really, really appreciate. I'm loving following the personal lives of the characters in the book, but like it does follow a lot of like the video game development and the video game design, which I obviously am not a big fan of because like I personally just don't care about video games. I don't play them. I don't do anything playing, especially like computer video games type of thing. That's like the one drawback from this. Otherwise, it's good. It's holding my attention to a certain point. I'm really trying to not read other books while I'm reading this one because I know it's gonna take me even longer to finish this one than it already is taking me. Like this one I've been reading for quite a while, I think a week at this point, and I'm still not finished, but it's just because the pacing is so slow, and even though the words are huge, you'd think that I would be done, but no. But no. I don't think I'm gonna be in love with it or obsessed with it by the end. Like I said, like I am not a literary fiction girly. I'm pretty sure I said this at the beginning of the video. I don't know. I started this video a while ago and I can't remember everything that I said. This has very great reviews and everyone that I've heard rated this book, they've rated it very, very highly. But personally, I don't see it being like a favorite or like a 5 stars or like one of the best books I've ever read. Okay, from a literary standpoint, writing, plotline, the way everything's playing out, yes, I want to say probably one of the best books I've ever read in that sense. But of me loving the book for the plot and for the characters and for everything that it also is, no. And I'm not even done with the book yet. So like obviously I can't like say that for sure, but I'm already kind of leaning that way. I probably have 40% of the book left. I don't know how many days it's been, but I actually just finished Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which means that we have finally concluded this video. Let's talk about Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow really quick. Final thoughts, final feelings. It's good, but like I said the other day, like it's just a book that genuinely was just not for me. Like I can totally appreciate the writing style and the talent that this author has, and that like how purposeful she is with everything that she writes and every single word that she puts on the page. Like once I started getting to the end of the book, obviously like so many things that were said and mentioned and then like actions that were done, I was just like, oh wow, this was like foreshadowed so early on in the book. And then for it to kind of like come full circle this way was very much like took a lot to like actually like get all of this out and in this flow. Does that make any sense? I don't know, but that's just the way I thought. I'm not gonna lie to you, the first like half this book I was like so uninterested because truthfully a lot of the book, especially in the beginning, it talks more about like building the video games compared to like the actual people and their lives, which is something I was definitely more interested in rather than the actual like concept of video game design and like everything that goes into that and like the whole thing. There were some things that actually ended up disappointing me about the book. Now the ending of the book was kind of left to be like open-ended to see like where things were gonna go, especially with the characters' relationship. You did go in like a lot of like waves. It mainly follows 2 main characters with like 1/3 basically main character, but it's not like his like overarching story that we're following. We're following Sam and Sadie, and you kind of see like the difficulty of like their relationship the entire way through, of like what it's like working together and like how difficult it is for them and like how they just constantly butt heads, but like being best friends from a young age to then going to working together, going on so forth with like their entire lives of like building video games. Yeah, there was things that like disappointed me and things that kept getting brought up that I was like, I feel like you're making this point but then like nothing's happening from it. Like that part like kind of annoyed me. I'm trying to say things without spoiling things, because in my brain they make sense of like from what I understood of this, like I thought certain things were gonna play out but then they didn't end up playing out, and that was kind of like almost disappointing for me because I was really kind of hoping that they would play out that way. It's fine. Another thing that I didn't really like is that, okay, in my opinion, throughout the book, I've basically found out that Sadie's the worst. I don't know, just some of the things that kept like coming up within the book, like they were all due to Sadie being Sadie's fault, like from an outside perspective. And I could see like her reasoning for things, but at the same time I was like, no, like stop. But either way, I definitely liked the second half of the book more. I can't remember which part was it at. It was at part 3 or 4. One of those is where I actually started to enjoy the book, which was more than 100 pages in, which I don't necessarily like because I almost wanted to DNF it, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna push through because everybody raves and like talks about how amazing this book is. And I will say it did get better after that part because it did focus more on like their lives and the journey of everything, with also building video games rather than the actual like, I don't know, there was just something about it like in those beginning parts that were just like really boring. I got more involved with their lives at that point. in the book. Overall, what I ended up rating the book was a 3 stars. Like I said, it just wasn't my cup of tea. That's just my thoughts. It was just a 3 stars for me, like I said, because some of the things, like, I just personally, like, it wasn't for me. Thought certain things were gonna play out a certain way, but they didn't. So, like, the characters' relationships and the way they felt so unfinished for me was just like, oh, okay, I thought I was gonna get something different, all-inclusive type of ending, and I did it. You know, the whole thing. Whatever. Not a big deal. Like I said, 3 stars. I do think that she's an extremely talented writer, and I do think that writing something like this really hard to do and like amazing. Like, for a literary fiction novel, I can absolutely see why like people absolutely love this book. The amount of thought and effort and purpose that has to go into writing a book like this is a lot, and I can totally appreciate that and see how people would absolutely love this book and give it a 5 stars. But anyway, that concludes this video. So let's go over all the books that we read in this video. These were 3 books that I had been highly avoiding, and then I finally got to reading. So the first book we read, Things We Left Behind. I think I said what I rated this book. I ended up rating this one a 4 stars. I was actually pleasantly surprised with this book. I really thought I wasn't gonna like it, that I was gonna hate it. Didn't. I actually ended up very much liking it, almost loving it. Well, actually, I think I did love it. I did. I love Lucian and Sloane's story. I thought this was like perfectly on brand for them as characters. Anything else would have just not have meshed well with the series. And I feel like so many people were disappointed because it's just not what they were expecting. But the reason I wasn't disappointed was because, one, the romance, I was like, oh, this makes sense for them. This type of romance makes sense for Lucian and Sloane. And the plotline was so on brand for Lucian and Sloane that like I couldn't be disappointed. No, this makes sense for them. This is their story. Like, it's not gonna be this like all of a sudden they're in love with each other type of love story. You know what I mean? Like, we're all of a sudden we're getting like these giddy feelings, and all of a sudden Lucian's not this giant asshole. You know what I mean? He is, and he embraces that and accepts that because that's just on brand for who he is. And his love for Sloane. I wish though in this book that we got a little bit more of like the past, because I absolutely loved reading about young Lucian and Sloane. Thought that part was so sweet, and I just wish that we got a little bit more. Like, if she wrote a novella, like a legit full-on novella, like with things included from this book too in that one, I would 100% love, I would think I'd love that, because I absolutely loved Lucian and Sloane. Next up was the Song of Achilles. I ended up DNFing this book. It just was not, again, for me. I do not like literary fiction, historical fiction as well. I think I said this earlier too. It just was honestly so slow, so boring. I got like 50% of the way. I literally got like about 50% of the way through, and I was like, I just can't do it. Like, the only thing that really was keeping me going was the subplot of romance and like how they had to kind of like keep it a secret a little bit. But then at a certain point, like, they were together and it wasn't really a secret, and I was just like, okay, like, it didn't like drive me anymore. Like, they were together and they were like happy. So I'm like, that was the thing that was driving me to get through this. So I didn't end up rating this one. I ended up just DNFing it. I don't know if I will ever go back to it. I might not. And lastly, of course, like I just talked about, Tomorrow, which I ended up, rating a 3 stars, like I just said. Again, another thing I didn't mention about this book was the pacing. The pacing was also really slow, and I think that's probably why it took me so long to read it. It took me over a week. This book is not that long. It may look like big-ish. It's not that long. It should not have taken me over a week. I have read over 400-page books in 3 days. This one is under 400 pages, and it took me over a week. And that's what I mean about pacing. All right, but those were the 3 books that we read in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you read any of these books, please tell me your thoughts on all of them. I would absolutely love to hear why you loved it or why you didn't love it. Like, I love seeing other people's perspectives. So please let me know what you thought of them. And that's it. Thank you guys again for watching this video. Don't forget to follow me on all of my social medias, as well as subscribing to my channel. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.